The eyes of the world have been glued to the city of Haran for the past 2 months, following the outbreak of a previously unknown pathogen.
It is not yet clear what has caused this gruesome affliction. The local government's Ministry of Defense erected a quarantine wall shortly after the outbreak.
The global relief effort's steady stream of supply drops has sustained what few survivors remain in the city. The Ministry of Defense believes more radical action should be taken to stem the tide of this virus.
The question is, are there still non-infected survivors in the city as the GRE maintains? And if so, will the ministry still go through with a stated plan to annihilate the city in an attempt to wipe out the Haran virus once and for all?
Whether by way of the virus or the ministry's proposed plan, one thing is certain: Haran's days are numbered.
Zombie games. I love them, you probably love them, and most people that play video games know of these type of games. No person ever has decided on why we play zombie games so much, but it's just the most published and the most bought type of games that have been out there for the past few years. So we're going to take a look at a few zombie games I have on my PS4, and we're going to look through the differences between them and what makes these games special.
Lady, what are you doing? You're so stupid.
Oh my god!
Not bad. Oh, he's not bad.
What the fuck is that? What? Oh my god! Resident Evil 6 is our first game on this list. I played through this game, well, by the time this video is released, twice. But I played once with my buddy Devin. Everybody knows of Devin Bryan at this point. And once with my friend Mikey. I really love this game, not because it's Resident Evil and it's not really a Resident Evil game. It's because it's just a good zombie game in general. It's just treated as if it's a bad game because it's Resident Evil and it's not survival horror. It's more of an action shooter, which every game's gonna have a spin-off like that. It's not like it's gonna be a big deal. I mean, I didn't overreact when Dead Rising 4 was basically just a completely different game. I didn't react that way when Dead Rising 3 was that type of way. But this game I really love for one reason. It's just a really good co-op game. It's usually just what you want to play with your friends when you have nothing to do. It gives you something to do, and the zombies in this game are highly aggressive on every other chapter but Leon's. It's really fun. There's such good, I don't want to say voice acting. There's good actors in it, but they don't go to their full potential. But anyways, time to move on to the next game. Dying Light is one of those zombie games that you really don't expect to be a hit until you play it. This is made by Techland, the same guys who worked on Dead Island, which I do not have downloaded, and I'll just make the comparisons of that game to this just really quick. So, Dead Island has less weapon mods, I think, than Dying Light at this point, only because of DLC. But I still love Dying Light because of the parkour aspect. It feels like Dead Island's really stiff when it comes to doing anything in that relation, and it really requires certain gameplay elements like that when you get into it, because you realize that you're stuck sometimes and you can't really get out of a predicament because you have to just fight through the zombies and you probably don't have a weapon to handle all the zombies to get through. Alright, we moved on to Dead Rising. Dead Rising is an amazing game. You get to... Well, in Dead Rising 1, you do not have combo weapons. That doesn't come in until Dead Rising 2, which I do not have downloaded either. But I do have it. But in Dead Rising 1, you are stuck in a mall with zombies, basically the premise of Dawn of the Dead, if you've ever watched the movie. But you're supposed to avoid these zombies, and I said avoid, you're not supposed to fight them. You can fight them at certain points, but the durability of your weapons will go down, and they're permanently lost unless you find another place to pick up these weapons, which are usually at pinpoints on the map. If not, they're just a certain item that will spawn on a certain time or day, and if you pick it up and try to come back to duplicate it, it will be gone. And Dead Rising is just a good game in general. The controls are dated by now, especially the shooting, but other than that, it's completely fine. Resident Evil 1 still holds up till today, so this should too. Made by Capcom also. Now, Dead Rising 4, I have mixed opinions on. As a Dead Rising game, I hate it. Frank West from the first game is brought back, but he's in his 50s and he's just really annoying as a character. He has no character arc besides just saying a bunch of one-liners and just doing nothing. You're back in Willamette, but you're not in the mall, you're in the whole town. But the mall still exists, but it's bigger and, well, not exactly bigger, smaller somehow. But on the outside, they try to make it look like it's bigger. This is an amazing zombie game. Really fun, but just too cartoony and laughable for a Dead Rising game. It's made technically by a new studio because the guys that worked on the first and the second also gave up on the game. I think the third was the last Dead Rising game I can actually accept as a Dead Rising game because it has at least good characters and a storyline to cling on to. World War Z is one of my new favorite zombie games. Not my most favorite, but it's pretty good nonetheless. I think it's a more responsive version of what Left 4 Dead was, honestly. The gunplay feels good when you actually pick up the game. Left 4 Dead's pretty fun, but it doesn't have hit registration for when you actually hit or even kill something. You just have to look for the text that tell you. In this game, you get both. And in this game, the difference between this and Left 4 Dead is that you can place down traps and turrets to keep them from getting closer to the objective, and so you can defend positions and all that, which is what you're seeing on screen. No zombie game ever has connected me to a character and a storyline as good as Days Gone has. I feel when I play this game, Deacon, Boozer are just they're one of a kind as characters in a storyline. It's such a good story, but if I were to say something about the gameplay, like, it's not lackluster. There's still a lot of things that this game does that no other zombie game has done. Like, for instance, your bike is actually your bike. You don't lose it. No other zombie game has ever done that. In Dying Light, you can make the comparison that the buggy that you use in the following, which isn't the main game, is a permanent vehicle that you can't lose, when you can clearly walk into an enemy base and just lose the thing and respawn it at a new checkpoint, which is very unrealistic for one, but two, in this game that doesn't happen. If you ramp your bike into water in this game, you're gonna drown with it. There's no way you're ever gonna lose your bike and not get it back unless it's from a glitch, which this game suffers from a couple big ones, but it's not anything that's gonna ruin the story or the gameplay for you. It's just a little it's probably just faulty loading time, which is most of this game because it's just too high resolution for the regular PS4. I recommend playing on PS4 Pro, even though I don't own one. But I still love the hell out of this game, and I think the story is not $60 worth. I honestly think the game should be $29.99 because I wouldn't recommend anybody spending $60 on a game that isn't finished in the slightest and gets updates to add new modes when the game isn't even fully fixed yet. It doesn't really help out that they keep doing this, but I do think this is one of my favorite zombie games of almost all time. Before this video actually ends, I just want to say I've been working really hard on videos recently. I've been putting thumbnails, and I've been not tagging them because I'm not DK. And that's not a shot at you, DK. It's just, I don't know why that's one of the comments you tried to flex on me with. But I've been working really hard at making thumbnails and gaining your guys' attention and trying to bring the channel back from the grave it was sadly in. And I hope you guys just like these videos. It would really help out if I would get some comments saying good job on these videos, because that's what's going to keep me going. I don't give a fuck if you like or subscribe to the video. You can unsubscribe from the video and I wouldn't care, as long as I'm getting people's recommendations and great greetings in the comments, because that's the stuff that keeps me going. Carefully, he's a hero.
We have to help the public.
Don't open that!
Alrighty, Brian.
Peter, hang on! I'm coming!
That's a Dead Rising moment. Do it.